The next item is the Camarillo Ranch Foundation Annual Report. Do we have a staff member that's going to introduce it, or do we just turn it over to?
Madam Mayor, annually at this time, the Camarillo Ranch Foundation gives the City Council an annual report. And to present that report this evening will be Interim CEO Martin Daly.
Thank you for allowing us the time here. Charles Devlin, who is the president of the board, is ill tonight, so I'm standing in his stead. We also have two board members here with us, David Schlungen, who is the vice president of the board, and Mike Drews, who's the local CPA and the treasurer of the foundation. You've received our annual report in writing. I just addressed a few things on that, and then certainly take any questions that the council may have. The first page, the highlight on that one to me is the fact that we have an excess of 120 volunteers out at the ranch, and what is being accomplished out there on a daily basis could not be done without those volunteers. Page 2 on our report, the members of the board of directors, the only highlight in that is that we have two new officers, both David and Mike, who are here tonight. David is the vice president because the former vice president, Michelle, went to work for the city and had to resign. And I resigned from the board to take the CEO position, and Mike Drews took over as the treasurer of that. The financials, Mike can address if there's any specific questions on there. We are still in a very healthy position on that. The annual audit was completed by Nelson Deal Evans, LLP, the city's accounting firm that does their audit. Likewise, by the courtesy of the city, also does our audit every year. And that 2016 audit found no deficiencies in internal controls that they considered material. And we also did, regarding financials, we did a reserve study which had not been done before by the ranch. That's been completed, and we used the same firm that did the city's reserve studies. We had to go back a couple times and make some minor adjustments in there. They forgot the wood floors.
It's a big thing.
And then the board also, that past year review, approved a revised investment policy and did a shortened form. Likewise, again, we reviewed the city's investment policy, and as applicable to a nonprofit, we took a lot of that information and went forward with that. So we do have that new investment policy. Our events continue to grow. We are still a very large wedding venue, but we are continuing to turn that trend to be more city focus and doing friend events and not so much fun events. One of those that's actually, we're going into our third year, but it continues to grow, is what we call the Throwback Thursday, and those are the food trucks. Yeah. And from here on out, it's hard to count what we have there, but we're trying to expand that as far as entertainment, the movies for children, things like that, entertainment. But during the summer months, starting from here on out, we have any place from 1,500 to 2,000 people come out to those food trucks on those Thursday nights. So that's become a very popular family event. In that particular venue, I walk around most of the time just talking to people and passing out our event calendars and that. And I asked the people if they've been there before, and most of the time, in my hour or so that I'm out there, most of the people are just finding out about the ranch. So that has done, with a different age generation, it's done a tremendous job on that. Adolfo, the ones we have in there, Adolfo's birthday, Santa Nights, the gala, the bridal showcase, those, we're just continuing to improve on those and grow those. The school tours that we started way back when for the third graders, we've enhanced the grant for the Title I schools. We pay for the transportation for the Title I schools throughout the county to get here. Otherwise, that would be something they probably could not do. That grant used to be $300, and now we're paying $400 and $450 for those transportations. And I believe last year the docents did upwards of 2,200 students came through on those school tours. Tales of the Ranch was not being well attended, so this year we're taking it from 2 to 1. We're trying to improve that. We're going to do some entertainment. You want to mark your calendars for that. Again, it's July. We're going to have the white horses. It's going to be the history about the white horses.
What day in July?
I believe it's July 19th.
19th.
I'll stand corrected. I don't have that right in front of me. Again, the majority other activities are the site rentals. We're trying to fill in a lot during the non-Saturdays, which big wedding venues were booked through mid-2018 for Saturday wedding events. But we're trying to fill in more corporate activities during the week using the barn and that, and with the elimination of the gift shop, that conference room that we're using now for all our meetings to save wear and tear on the house. We're also looking at that to expand that into possible a rental venue for retreats and things like that for local businesses and other nonprofits, and to share that with those. So still a lot going on. The bus tours, we're hoping to improve on those. We had 2 bus tours yesterday. One out of Manhattan Beach, and I think the other one was out of San Diego, I'm not positive.
Wow.
But the membership is continuing to grow, and at that, I'll take any questions that council may have.
Great, thank you. Questions?
No, I just have a couple of compliments.
So do I.
Okay.
I have some questions.
Well, why don't you go the
don't have
questions
to-
first?
You all just are doing comments. And I'm going back to, we've gotten letters, I guess that's our theme tonight, regarding the financials. So I took probably more time than I look at them, and I add it all up in my head and I go through it all. But I said, okay, I'm going to sit down here and I'm going to go through it. And it seems to me that there's some issues with your actuals versus your budgeting. And so I started to look at it and realize, I think part of the problem you have is, and I know you have a new treasurer, and perhaps, well, that's okay. I think you need to restructure some of this, because I think you've got accounts all over the place. It's making it difficult to see that picture. So I actually, because when you looked at the financials, it threw a different picture. So when I put down and I started to group things into categories, it started to make much better sense to me. And I think that would be helpful as you go forward to look at perhaps getting things a little bit more in sync. I don't know if you've had the chance to look at it, but that was one of my comments. I had a few other things that popped out in that process. Do you have inventory in your gift shop?
It's gone.
So you have no gift shop anymore?
Not yet.
No, we have very minor inventory left. We
But you sold some, so I saw the income.
Yeah, we had sales and that. And of course, it was open part of the year too, as well.
Okay.
But we do have some items left, and we plan on using those at the Fiesta for giveaways.
Okay, so your inventory has been
We're done,
transferred out of the gift shop?
but also in that same regard, Madam Mayor, is that we're not going to totally eliminate, because we haven't given up the idea of the gift shop, but we may be trying, and this is way out of my area, but technology, having a gift shop, and we use some of the pieces that we have, the collateral pieces we have in there, to sell online. So that is something that we're going to be considering. We had a task force look at the gift shop. So The physical part is closed, but we haven't given the ID up yet.
Okay, so you do have something that so you do in a sense, is my mic on? My lights are off, so I can't tell if my mic's on. So you do have some inventory there that should be accounted for somewhere then, if it's any value to it. The other thing that has come up over the years are your security deposits. And in reading the financials, they're refundable, if I'm not mistaken. So once they make the deposit, they're not refundable.
That's correct.
Okay, so then what are the security deposits that are on the books?
Oh, I'm sorry, security deposits. Security deposits I was thinking of the deposits for the contracts. Security deposits are refundable.
Okay, so after the event happens, that can be refunded.
Those are usually in denominations of $1,000, security deposits.
So you have $47,104 on the books?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All as security deposit. And the deposit to hold the venue are not refundable, and those are recognized as income when you receive them then?
Correct.
Okay. That's a question that's come up over the years. Let me see what else I found. I think the main thing that I would,
What
here's
page
another
are
one.
you on? It'd help the rest of us to know where you're going.
Are you on the P&L?
I am. For instance, and I'm talking mostly about your chart of accounts and your financials. You say interest Vanguard. Do you have a Vanguard account?
We did.
So in this current year, you did closed it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then that would make sense. And your merchant fees, the question I had on that one was why your merchant fees were so high if you're not running your gift shop. What are your gala then? Is that where the fees are
No, the
generated?
merchant fees are primarily for the wedding venues, booking of the facilities. Most of those payments are made by credit card.
Oh.
And the higher volume we have, the higher the fees are.
Sure. So it's actually the wedding venue that's doing it, huh? Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
They all get their mileage so they can have their honeymoon. So I guess the one comment, and I will say it in answer to some of these letters, is that, I think you could make your financials a little bit more user-friendly, and it would just be a matter of getting things in sync so that you've got them by program, so to speak. But I think it looks to me like you're accounting for things. There was one question had to do with some loss of funds, and I don't know if that was ever resolved. The answer I had heard was that it had to do with converting from one QuickBooks to another. I don't know if that's the finding of that, yeah.
Drews, I'm the treasurer of the board.
Just pull that mic right up. There you
I'm
go.
Michael Drews, I'm treasurer of the board. We had, in November of last year, we had a transferring from one accounting system to another. And during that process, there was a statement was released that was on their accrual basis. And so we had an accounts receivable value that was on that one financial statement. And that was corrected in the next month. But there's no, the receivables are not, when we book an event, the receivable is not really a receivable because the participant, the person that's booking the venue, is not obligated to pay that if they cancel, and therefore, but that was a 1 month process that we inadvertently booked that, but that was in reference to what the letter you're referring to mentioned. That's what's going on
Okay.
there.
So the reason that you don't have receivables is you're only recognizing the deposit, because that's the only thing you're guaranteed of receiving.
We're recognizing the cash that's being received as revenue.
Right, which represents their holding deposit, I'm going to call it.
Correct.
The rest
Half
of,
the contract is paid up front.
okay.
Yep.
Non-refundable, so you're recognizing it when you receive it.
Exactly.
And the other, you're not guaranteed to receive it, therefore. How much notice do they have to give you before they give up that venue?
Well, I'll defer that to you, but.
The last payment is due 90 days
90
before
days
the
out.
event.
So theoretically, you could rent it again then, okay.
Yeah, for weddings, it's difficult. We did
Well,
have,
those quick shotgun ones, you never know.
we have one.
But they don't allow shotguns on the property?
Okay, so then basically, while you're on the accrual basis, you really don't have receivables because of that, the way that's set up. So hopefully that answers the question for the individual out there. And I guess the lesson is to be careful when we release statements, yeah. Lesson learned.
Another part of the problem we ran into, all at the same timing, is the perfect storm, so to speak. We've been trying to get a cash flow projection system going so we can project what our cash flow is going to be. Our expenses are pretty level, but our income's up and down. So in that concept, thinking of switching to QuickBooks, we were putting these contracts in, and then we had to go back and take them all out because it really
Threw everything
threw it
else
out.
off.
So
I gotcha.
The intent was to get a 18 to 2-year projection of what our cash flow is going to be since we have the contracts out. But we're going to have to just do that on an Excel spreadsheet.
Gotcha. Okay. And then on the AP side, you really you're paying your bills every month, so you really shouldn't be carrying much in the way of a payable. Weekly. Okay. So hopefully, and maybe you all read the letter, but hopefully that answers some of the questions that have been raised. I still say that maybe you can look at it and see if you can just rearrange things so that it flows better on your financial statements, more in tune to how it shows on your internal financial statements matching your issued financial statements, and I think it would be easier to
That's in the process.
budget too.
This year's budget that will be coming up and going to the Finance Committee this Monday, whenever we're meeting. We're eliminating a lot of these line items here are technically sub-accounts. So we're eliminating those. We will keep them as sub-accounts, but when the financial statements are presented to the board and to the public, a lot of these won't be. So instead of 8, 9 pages,
You'll collapse it down.
have it down like 2 or 3 pages to make it more sense.
And to make sure the public understands you're not hiding anything, but in the QuickBooks system, you can have accounts and you can have sub-accounts and you can run reports collapsed or expanded.
Absolutely.
So the information's there if you need it. It's just that you condense it. Another reason to move things around so that when you condense those sub-accounts, they don't get all lost.
So hopefully this year's budget will take care of that.
Wonderful. Okay, that's all I had in questions. Now comments?
I think you're doing a really good job.
I think they've done a fantastic job.
And I think the board did a very good thing in hiring Mr. Daly as their interim director. Not director, what are you?
when now can I?
His second career, are you finished? Is this your third career?
Third or fourth career.
I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do after this one.
Are you done?
I'm done now.
Mr. Morgan?
Yeah, this is what has changed, because we're on the board and we see the changes going on, and they're all positive. When I've had 2 people call me to try to get something going out there at the barn, too bad it's taken. So we are busy, and if you're talking about 90 days before, you're going to have somebody that wants it. That's just what's been happening. People last minute call and want to do stuff, and so I have a lot of confidence that they'll be filling up those openings.
In light of the previous conversation, I think we need to clarify a statement you made, Mr. Morgan. You said we're on the board. We are city council appointed liaisons to their board. So
Excuse me.
there's not a problem.
As a
then.
affiliate of the board that do make comments that are helpful, hopefully, and I think that we've watched what's been going on and we agree with what you have. So we, even as an affiliate, have done a lot of good things, and I think you guys have done a great job. So thank you.
Mr. Trimley?
I think you meant your ex officio, right? Yes. In terms of members of the board, technically? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I want to thank Mrs. McDonald for her comments relative to the recategorization of the, and I guess by program, that's probably the best way to describe it, in terms of your internals versus your issued financials. But principally, I just wanted to say 2 things. Number 1, I wanted to compliment you and the directors and the officers on the foundation and all of the volunteers, the docents and everyone. It is a labor of love, and I really appreciate everyone's efforts out there, and they show, because it is that's how the ranch has operated, and it's wonderful to see. And whether it's 100 versus 120, I know that it's well, there were two numbers in your report, but I'm not going to get hung up on it. I know that it's in excess of 100 people, and you need all those folks to make things go, and I really, really deeply appreciate their time. Number two, just a shout out for Throwback Thursday nights. That's a great program. And I do see a lot of families out there, and I see a lot of young families that otherwise wouldn't be exposed to the ranch property. So, Mr. Daly, I think your comments are spot on. And so, if nothing else, this is a little advertisement for the Throwback Thursdays, because they're a lot of fun. So if you're listening to this, please attend.
Absolutely. Good reason not to cook.
That's right.
Thanks for the lobster truck. Love
And
that.
I do want to thank all of you. I know it's a lot of hard work, but it is a labor of love for all of you who enjoy that. And we thoroughly love the ranch and want to make sure it's successful as well. I personally am happy to hear that you're looking to bring it more to the city and not just weddings from wherever, that it really is a venue and something that belongs to the city and the citizens, and so that they can use it and appreciate it. I think is a really good thing, especially the kids. And I had a question the other day, and we'll talk about advertisement, having to do with what you were advertising as your day camp. And the way I read it was kids, they could drop their kids off, but that's not what it is. It's organizations who can come and participate, correct?
That is correct. We had it, last year was the first year we had it. We had 2 days, and now we have 6 days scheduled. And the YMCA is taking advantage of it. The Boys and Girls has taken advantage of it, and I'm not sure who else is on that, but it was open for those, and it is very similar to what we're doing with the third grade, but it's not limited to that. It's the educational standpoint and exposure to the ranch. Going back to Councilman Tremblay's remark about whoever's watching this, if I may, we have a declining docent population. So if anyone is watching that, and we are one of the new hires and new positions we'll be making will be for a volunteer coordinator, but we are looking for docents. They are an aging population, not as fast as I am, but they are. So we have some issues there, and so we're addressing that, and we are trying to get a lot of younger people to come in and. Because that is the legacy that Mr. Camarillo has left us. Sure. And one other thing I told Councilman Craven just before the deal, we will probably be receiving as a permanent loan to the ranch Adolfo Camarillo's original Surrey.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Oh, how
So
fun.
we're hoping to, I don't know where we're going to put it, but we're going to take it.
Yeah, you don't want to pass that one up. Since you're doing your advertisement for docents, just tell them kind of what it involves and how much time do they have to commit to doing it.
The actual time is open, but I think it's something like 18 hours a quarter.
So it's not a lot.
It's minimal, but they're primarily, they have their own training program. We just completed a first draft of a brand-new volunteer policy manual, which would be, all volunteers will be going under that. But they are trained by existing docents for all aspects of the history of the home primarily, but also the grounds. And then
They wear period costumes.
That's fun.
they wear period costumes. And again, as applicable as we start more of a outreach and within the community, we're hoping to take those docents in the period costumes with us to various other organizations and locations to tell them about the history of the ranch. And
They have a speakers bureau.
Well, I wish you'd slow down on my wife. Now I heard that many a quarter. She puts a whole lot more than that. Plus, I think I got half a closet full of these outfits, these old outfits.
But the main thing is, if someone doesn't have the time but really wants to do it, it isn't a full-time job. It's something they could do just a little bit, and perhaps as time allows them, spend more time out there.
and the school tours are a separate group of docents.
Yep.
Very good. All right, any other
Move to
questions?
receive and file.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please vote. And that passes unanimously with Mr. Kildee absent. And with that, we thank you for coming and giving us your report.